So, you guys know when it comes to me, I'm really big on the topic of abortion, right? And I always like to cover these particular topics because I think that this is not just affecting the black community, but it is affecting everyone worldwide. Now, we do know that abortion does affect the black community at a disproportionate rate. So I think since the inception of Roe versus Wade, I think that they say that roughly 20 million black babies have been aborted. Roughly 50 years ago, we've aborted 20 million black babies. That's just black people. You can imagine what it is over the rest of the country. And I think that it's closing in on 60 million or something like that. So this is a huge issue, and this is across the board. I mean, it doesn't matter what race, ethnicity, immigrant, whatever, it affects all communities. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I ever told you guys this story, but I remember I did pay for an abortion, and I was actually there with the girl that I was with at the time, and I sat inside of the abortion clinic. And let me tell you this, it was not just one group of people that were in there. It was not just black people, just Hispanic people. I'm going to tell you like this, to kind of put this in perspective. I remember seeing this Indian family. Okay, I'm talking about Indian, not Native American. I'm talking about people who were from India. And it was the grandmother, the mother, the father, and they had taken some young girl. I don't know how old she was. She looked like she was maybe in her late teens, early 20s. She probably could have even been in her mid-teens. And they were assisting her at the abortion clinic. And I'm talking about that they had the red dot and everything. Not trying to be funny, but they had the red dot. So this just does not affect just one community. However, like I said earlier, it does affect the black community at a disproportionate rate than others. What's even sadder is that we got people in our own community who, on the one hand, they said that they're fighting for the rights of black people. And I'm blacker than black, and I'm black. And they said that they want to see the black community flourish. And they're so against police brutality, and they're so against all of these things that quote unquote oppress the black community. But when it comes to abortion, they allow people from outside of the community, these same people that they talk about that is oppressing the community, they allow them to use these black liberals to destroy the same people that they claim that they're fighting for. They use the quote unquote enemy to fight against their own quote unquote people that they claim that they're trying to protect. One person that really does that a lot is a guy named Roland Martin. Now, was he, let me see, what was he on? CNNBC or MSNBC? He had a show on one of those channels. Now, I think it was CNN. Somebody let me know in the comment section below. But anyway, Roland Martin recently had a talk on his channel. Thank you, Brother Keith. He was on CNN. Roland Martin, he got fired from CNN and he decided to start his own thing on YouTube. And I don't remember how many followers or whatever that he has, but it's pretty popular. It's pretty popular on YouTube, and he touched on various topics, political topics, when it comes to things that affect the black community. You know, political topics that is geared more towards that. And of course, it's a lot of, liberal talking points, just like I stated earlier. He had this talk and he wanted to grill this lady. I guess she's a black conservative. So he's basically trying to grill her, and he's trying to throw out the whole straw man argument of, well, if you guys are so pro-life, then why don't you guys care about police brutality and all of the, all of the run-of-the-mill talking points and all of that. So anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and stop my babble, and we're just going to go ahead and get into this. And let's just get ready to talk some politics. All right, so let's go ahead and bring this back up. Yeah, Brother Keith says Roland Martin is an armor bearer, an armor bearer for the enemy. Yeah, correct. He is. All right, well, let's go ahead and listen to this particular interaction between Roland Martin and this particular lady that's sitting right here on the right. Now, I don't know how much of this I'm going to play. I think you're going to kind of get the gist of this by the time we get to the middle of this particular video. So I'm not going to play the whole thing because I think that they kind of just continue to go around in circles. And then for the sake of time, I don't want to get too locked in on this one topic. All right, fair use.
Tate Reeves is not doing it in Mississippi. And so what I'm saying is this here. No. What I'm saying is this here. When I listen to Republicans talk about being pro-life, what I want to know is where their pro-life stances when it comes to Head Start. Right. Where their pro-life stances when it comes to prenatal care. Right. Where their pro-life stances when you have black women who have a high rate of dying in childbirth. Where are your pro-life policies when it comes to infant mortality?
Okay, that's a straw man argument. First of all, my wife, she is a doula, okay? You want to talk about infant mortality? Oh, my wife knows a lot about that. She even educates women, not just black women, but she educates all women on how to take care of themselves and to be able to take care of their babies during the birthing process. She tells women and she educates them on certain lingo that is being used in these hospitals. What are their rights? Because a lot of times when a woman is going into labor, your typical hospital looks at you as a dollar sign. Because the longer you're there and the more services and the more medicine you need, they can go ahead and rack that bill up against the insurance company. The whole time that you're in that bed, I mean, they just, all you hear is the dollar sign. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. That's all they see. Oh, you need an epidural? Okay, let's go ahead. Let's rack that up. And the hospitals will promote these things as a necessity. But what my wife says is that, no, you have options, you have rights, because a lot of those things may not be necessary for you. And some of these procedures could be harmful. So you want to do what's best for your body and for your baby, because not every woman needs to go in there and have an epidural. Not every woman needs to be, put on all of these types of drugs and all of this medication, because some of these women, quite frankly, don't know that they may have an allergy to some of these medications. And some of these medications are in the trial state. So they'll get a medication from a pharmaceutical company that'll say, well, we need you to go ahead and take this since you're getting ready to have a child, all because the hospital and the doctor and the pharmaceutical company, they have some type of contract going along where some pharmaceutical company said, we just need you guys to kind of test out this new medicine and kind of give us some feedback. There's all types of politics behind all of that stuff. So I want to kind of get back to my point of where Roland Martin is basically saying that people who are pro-life, right? People like us who believe in preserving the sanctity of life, we don't care about the educational program. We don't care about the infant mortality rate, and we don't care about the maternal mortality rate. He's rattling off all of these things, and this is what he does. He likes to throw out all of this information to you all at once, all of these questions. So therefore, he can kind of confuse you, and then when you don't answer one thing specifically, then he can say, oh, well, see, I threw all of this stuff out and this person never had any answer for all of the information that I put out. That's what you're dealing with here. But let's continue.
What I'm saying is, when you are a Republican in the state of Mississippi and you push a law and the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade and you are ill prepared to handle the 5,000 new babies, maybe because the money that you could care for the poor went to Brett Favre. That's right.
Okay, so let's put this in perspective. If you don't follow whatever policies, such as if you don't support the policies that a person like Roland Martin is promoting, that should give a person the green flag to go ahead and abort a child regardless. If you can't have an answer for, let's just say, education, the infant mortality rate, All of these other things that he threw out, if you can't have an answer or if you have not fixed those things, then you shouldn't have anything to say about abortion. So kill the baby. Kill the baby, because certain policies are not in place that people like him deem is acceptable. You know, it's like that. That's what we're dealing with here. Just kill the baby, because you don't have any answer for what I deem is righteous or the policies that should be in place.
And all I want to see is the governor of Mississippi, who's opposing Medicaid expansion, seeing rural hospitals shut down in his state, and you got white women and black women who are dying, and Republicans control the legislature. Yep. They control the governor's mansion. So don't tell me they are pro-life when they are unwilling to accept Medicaid expansion, but then they say we don't want to accept federal money from the federal government when they send $1 to the federal government and they get $4 back.
When you look at this.
Let's touch on that for a second. First of all, when it comes to accepting federal money, there's a lot of stipulations that come behind that. So the federal government will say, we'll give you X amount of dollars only if you guys are willing to compromise on this. And some of that stuff could be accepting transgender surgery for kids, which people like him they don't mention that part. You know what I'm saying? They don't mention stuff that may actually harm people in the long run, that may harm even the black community. They don't mention that. So therefore, some of these politicians, they'll say, okay, well, wait, we're not going to accept if you're going to give us the money, give it to us so we can take that money and do what we need to do with it. But don't try to tell us how to allocate that money to certain organizations, or we should be restricting certain people, or we should be able to open up services that could be harmful to somebody else. But again, that's another topic for another discussion.
This concept, what you're saying to me right now is that because you believe that Republicans are not supporting pro-living, I disagree. I look at the Republican support for community health centers. I look at the Republicans trying
Where?
Everywhere, Roland.
South Carolina, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Arkansas, Texas, Mississippi, Alabama.
Exactly.
They all are against Medicaid expansion and rural hospitals.
Roland,
Are you telling me rural hospitals? Are you literally telling me that rural hospitals in Mississippi, Alabama, Texas, Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina are not shutting down? Are you actually telling me that?
I am not telling you that. But
so
what
therefore,
I am saying,
if they're shutting down.
Now, I want y'all to pay attention to this, because this is a man who always tout, we got to care for our black women, and our black women, they're always the ones who no one never listens to them. People always are trying to shut them down. They don't never, no one is a voice for the black woman. We need to start being voices for the black women. But when a black woman disagrees with what you're saying, now we can't let that person speak. That's why a lot of times when I be hearing some of these black folks and they be telling this old black power stuff, they always with this fist up, Black Lives Matter, all of this stuff here. Let them folks talk long enough and disagree with them on the point and see how they treat you. That's why I don't play the whole soul brother handshake, a black on the 5 on the black hand side. I don't do none of that stuff. This is the reason why, because you cannot disagree with folks like this. Just watch the way that he tries to overtalk this woman. This woman can't even get a word in. He asks her question after question after question and won't even let her answer.
Now, how then are the people able to get care? How?
Roland, what I am saying is that when we talk about aborting babies, so you're saying to me that because we support life, actually giving babies the opportunity to live, I'm confused.
Baby born. I'm so confused. First of all, hold up. You're confused because you think I'm saying something that I'm not.
Well, tell me what you're saying.
What I'm telling you, I'm being very clear. You cannot say you are pro-life when you vote against prenatal care for the mother. You cannot say you are pro-life when you vote against Head Start.
Right.
You cannot say you are pro-life when you do not want to expand Medicaid to keep hospitals open. You cannot say you are pro-life when you have OBGYNs who are not available in your state. You cannot say you are pro-life when you have black women who are dying at a higher rate during childbirth and you do nothing public policy-wise to fix it. You cannot say you are pro-life if you allow infant mortality rates to be sky high in areas where there are black and brown people. What that tells me is you are anti-abortion.
And see, the thing is that people like him, they're never in the spaces of trying to make sure that the infant mortality rate is down. My wife is in those industries where she's working with people, black, white, Hispanic, and these are Christian organizations, by the way. These are Christian organizations that go out and try to fight for the same things that he's talking about. And guess who blocks it? It's people like him. People like him are always trying to block these things because it doesn't fit their narrative. So that's why with him saying stuff like this and my wife being so in tune with those communities and me seeing these things firsthand, a person like Roland Martin can't tell me anything. He can't tell me nothing because all of this is just a bunch of, hoopla and bolstering. And this is what he does. He's full of emotion.
You are not pro-life because if you are pro-life, you care about the child in the womb and when the child is out. And if you are pro-life, you are standing there with black folks when their kids are killed by cops. You are not silent. So if you are pro-life, be pro-life from the womb to the tomb.
Okay, first of all, he's talking about police brutality and cops and black folks being killed by the police. When people like me and others stand up and say, okay, yeah, that was wrong, but at the same time, let's look at what's happening in our communities, and there are some things that we gotta clean up in our own communities. These are some things that we gotta take accountability for. Coon, Uncle Tom, Sambo. We need to focus on strictly white cops when they strictly kill black people. Let's not deal with if there's an overarching problem with police brutality. Let's only focus on it when white people are involved. Why should me as a black man, if I'm trying to focus on cleaning up my community and educating the people that are in my community as the black community, why do I need to bring white folks into this? Why would I need to do that every time? There's a lot of things that have to be done on our end. So therefore, according to his logic, if we're not going to fight for police brutality, whenever a cop shoots a black person, and whenever the media decides to put it on TV, if we don't hop behind people like him and Black Lives Matter, fist up, hands up, don't shoot. When we don't do that, and if we don't do that, then we shouldn't have anything to say about abortion. That's the logic that we're listening to right here.
Not just in the womb.
Okay, and so Roland, what I say is that I am pro-life.
No, you are.
No,
but
I am.
not Governor Tate Reeves, not Governor Lee of Tennessee, not the Republican legislature.
Still not letting her talk.
Not Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders, not Governor Kemp in Georgia. No, here's the deal though.
Okay,
you
let me
are.
ask you this.
But show me where your Republican politicians
are you
pro-life in their policies.
Let me ask you this.
You know what I am? I'm pro-black, and I'm going to call out anybody who call themselves pro-life, but their policies are not.
And I am pro-life. Let me ask you this. Are you?
Call your party.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Call your party.
Can I ask you this?
Call your party.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Call your party.
Can I ask you this?
Go ahead.
Are you pro-life?
I'm pro-life when that black person is killed, and when the Republican.
So let me ask you this.
No.
Right.
When the Republican says nothing when somebody is gunned down.
Don't use extremes. Republicans do say things when people are gunned down. No, Roland, you can't do that.
No, they don't.
Roland, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I'm sorry. Those are the same folks who send out MLK quotes on MLK Day.
Oh my goodness.
But will not support MLK's
Is my mic
agenda.
on? Can you hear me? Okay, so Roland. No, Roland.
You can try this all you want to, Tina, but you know the record is clear.
Oh my goodness.
Your party refuses to accept the Affordable Care Act.
Can I ask a couple?
Come on,
we're going to talk about the State of the Union, I suppose, but can I ask a couple of questions about
And every single one of those Republicans stood up for Tyree Nichols' family.
I don't know how this is dialogue.
Police reform.
I don't know how this is dialogue.
No, Dina.
Okay,
Dina,
so okay,
Uvalde.
okay. Can
Go
I?
ahead.
I mean, when we got a massive shooting, I don't hear any Republicans talking about any gun. You know, they're wearing their guns on their lapels. Dina, is that pro-life?
That-
Is that pro-life? You have an Uzi on
I
your
think that is
lapel.
pro-2A, but let me.
Is that pro-life?
I
I'm
want.
sorry, what's that?
Kevin McCarthy clearly was sick.
What I want to. What.
And see, and this is when the conversation, I had to just kind of like start ignoring it because you're clearly looking at, basically they just ambushed this poor woman. This wasn't a dialogue. It was bring a person on there who totally disagreed with them and just berate this lady. And he's supposed to be people that's quote unquote pro-black. He's so pro-black, he won't even let this lady speak her piece. That's what he wanted to do. That's why I believe that people like Roland Martin are a joke. Let's not just go by what politicians say. Hey, let's not go by what even I say. Let's see what the Lord has to say. Even Roland Martin claims that he's a Christian, but let's see what the Lord has to say. You guys know this scripture pretty well. This is Proverbs chapter 6, starting at verse 15. And what does it say? It says, there are 6 things that the Lord hates, and 7 that are an abomination to him. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. Hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that devises wicked plans, feet that make haste to run to evil, a false witness who breathes out lies, and one who sows discord amongst brothers. That is the scripture. This is one of the biggest reasons why we are pro-life. This is a scripture that I whenever I'm talking to someone who claims to be pro-abortion and they claim to be Christian, I bring this scripture up immediately. And I'm like, well, you interpret that for me. How the abortionists and these politicians who fight for abortion, how do they not fit what we just read in the scripture? Let's not be deceived, people. The Lord is not going to have mercy on anyone who propagates abortion. Anybody, if you are voting for these people and they're telling you that they're going to, that they're trying to bring or they're trying to have abortion unrestricted, and that's a part of their policy, the Lord is not he's not gonna hold you blameless. I don't care if you call yourself Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, because I get a lot of these black folk who claim to be Christian and they get upset with me because when I start pointing out foolishness like this and I'm using the same Bible that they claim that they're reading from, then that's when I become the coon and the Sambo and all of the names that you can think of. I become all of that. How can you be a Christian? Let's just go by their model, their whole line of thinking. How can you be a black person, you claim to be a Christian, and you claim to be a person of God, which is basically the same thing. Sometimes these people claim to be pro-life. How can you vote for somebody who, number one, is trying to reduce the numbers of the black community? Because remember, when they're putting out all of these billboards and stuff, trying to get women to accept these quote unquote reproductive rights and all of this stuff, when they're trying to promote abortion, they always using black faces. 9 times out of 10, they use black faces in order to promote abortion. So you mean to tell me that you're going to vote for people who don't look like you? Let's just keep it real. These are people who don't look like you, because I don't know any black people that are putting up millions of dollars on billboards to make sure that they promote abortion. I haven't found one yet. So you're talking about people who, by the way, that don't look like you, who started the eugenics program, which has led to Planned Parenthood, and the people, they got the same ideologies, the same talking points that they had back then since its inception, and they still have it now to reduce the black population. And you're going to run and vote for these people who hold those same ideologies, and you claim to be a Christian, number one, and then you claim to be pro-black, number two. You can't make that make sense. There's a level of disconnect and there's a level of deception going on there. I believe, personally, this is me speaking right here, I believe that black people who are these staunch Democrats are very deceived. I believe that these people are on thin ice from being led down a path to hell because they can't let go of their politics. And I believe that just like you got these white Christian nationalists who believe that since they were born in America and they was raised Republican and, you know, since they told an AR-15 that makes them Christian, I believe that if you got some black people that vote Democrat, they believe that they're Christians and they go to an all-black church, they believe that that's what make them a Christian. You're no better than the white nationalists. The only thing is that you're just the other side of the same coin. Ain't no different. Because you can't even be honest to say, hey, I can't ride with that. As a Christian, sorry, can't ride with you wanting to take innocent life in the womb, no matter what color. That should be number one. And then to see it being promoted in the black community and you claim to be pro-black, I mean, the deception is real. Folks like that, we really have to pray for. We really got to pray for folks like that because these are people who are greatly deceived, especially in our community. So the reason why I can speak on these things because I see a lot of this stuff firsthand. And it's getting so bad in our community to where whenever I get ready to do a live stream, especially my Sunday live streams, it's geared more towards the black community because of all of the stuff that we're dealing with in our community alone. I mean, it's just, it ain't funny, man. It's just mind boggling.